Why are there still no cameras on 150 school buses? Cameras you paid for.
3 Ford Fusions, they all look the same, but can you spot which one's been in a wreck?
Why don't they have an exact number when we've been asking questions about this for months?
Inspectors came to this Wellington Chipotle 6 times since late July. That's double any other restaurant in the chain.
Pawn shops say they don't want your stolen items. That's why they track everything. They require a driver's license, your signature, your thumbprint, and everything's caught on camera.
And despite all of these reports, Whirlpool says tempered glass is actually the safest thing to use in an oven. So here's how to protect yourself. When you close your oven door, make sure your glass never hits the metal rack, because even the slightest ding can cause your glass door to shatter.
Take a minute when you're dining out and do your own math. You can't always count on the restaurant. The auto gratuity or suggested tip may not add up. In this case, the restaurant wanted an extra buck. And it's not just where you eat. Some mechanics are overcharging for an oil change. With the Prius, you need less oil.
Charred coffee makers, scorched power strips, microwaves melted. It's the job of appliance detectives to solve these mysterious fires.
Make sure you give the Turnpike your license plate, make and model of your car, and the date you'll be traveling.
The bus cameras capture 4 different views. Our view from Chopper 5 shows you the hundreds of buses that hit the road every day. Nobody checked the cameras on these buses until after an incident. On one bus, it hit the road for 8 months, and the video never recorded.
Usually, I just tell you the story, but in this case, part of the story is how we got the story and all the roadblocks we hit along the way, and how hard we fought to bring to light this problem with Palm Beach County's school bus cameras. Our journey down Document Road started last May.
The judge didn't buy it, sending him to prison.
You, sir, are nothing short of a thief.
A thief exposed by the consumer watchdog, now beginning a 5-year prison sentence.
Should the schools, though, be allowed to continue serving food to students who are a bit of a vulnerable population when there's pests inside, like raccoons?
Right. Typically, those raccoons don't come out when, people are there.
Caught on camera, an angry mom on a Palm Beach County school bus. Charges were filed because of what the camera captured. But in some cases,
everything just fell apart. It became a he said thing once there was no video evidence.
Jack Mahoney's son Aiden was beat up on the bus. Details only described on paper.
I was just having a hard time processing it because I expected to be video, and I was floored when there wasn't,
Why did you want to see the video?
Well, because that's where the truth is.
Our 10-month consumer watchdog investigation found the school district did not put anyone in charge of inspecting the camera systems. The new one and the old one. 6 years of no checks, despite spending $1.5 million.
Knowing that there may not be cameras working all the time,
Then what did we get cameras for?
what do you say to all the victims?
So first of all, what I'll tell you is we're not required by law to have a video on every bus. That's something that we've added in addition to.
But you paid for it.
We have, but not all buses have videos. Just so you know, not all buses are equipped with that video camera system. I do know that about 23% of our fleet does not have the camera system installed.
Why not?
Because we can't afford it.
It's the new buses, more than 100 added recently, that don't have cameras.
Why can't you just send the buses back to the factory and get the cameras installed?
Because we are short buses. I've got dozens and dozens of buses that are sitting parked because they don't work anymore. I can't send the buses back. We don't have enough buses.
So when will the cameras be installed?
The cameras will be installed as the buses are able to be brought in and we have the funding to be able to install the video cameras.
Just days after this interview, an email to bus workers that the camera company would be installing cameras on the new buses over spring break.
This community, for years, not just Palm Beach, the state of Florida has not been funding public education.
But that's the reality.
The reality is what it is. Then people need to accept that we cannot continue to provide the level of service that they expect.
It's your personal information.
This is pretty shocking.
That you think is protected.
There should be some very upset people out there. Unfortunately, they don't even know they've been victimized.
Until now.
Well, up until
2 days ago. I thought I was pretty cautious. Apparently that's not the case.
But we found Josh's most treasured secrets online, along with sensitive information for people across the country, including Phyllis here in South Florida.
I was nervous about your call because I thought, gee, I didn't do anything.
Josh and Phyllis are not victims of a data breach.
Does that look familiar to you?
It's my tax return for 2012.
Still, their financial lives are exposed on the internet for the world to see.
I'd like to know how you got it.
It was easy. In just seconds, we had access to Phyllis's tax return and dozens more.
I'm upset. There's no words to describe how upset.
Online, we found her social security number, income, and investments.
Is this your accountant and your financial advisor?
Yes.
We even had pictures of her most trusted advisors.
And how did you get pictures of Irene?
Irene Kanai is an accountant in Chicago, but thousands of miles away in South Florida, I have access to all of her files, including her personal ones like her wedding photos, but also her professional tax returns.
Wow, that's pretty scary stuff.
Even WPTV computer security expert Alan Krowitz could not believe what we found.
This is just unbelievable. And it's so easy.
All a bad guy has to do is search.
I'm on their home computer. This is no hacking skill, no password, no cracking. We didn't do anything here.
For security reasons, we're not going to tell you where we found this data, but people made themselves vulnerable through a file sharing and storage process called FTP.
Main purpose is to transfer files from point A to point B.
How secure is FTP?
It's not. It's financial data. It doesn't belong on an FTP site, period.
While Phyllis's information was out there because of someone else, Josh can only blame himself.
I had no idea.
For exposing the secret recipe for his successful barbecue sauce.
I don't want it to be out there. That's for sure. That one's something that could probably hurt me.
For his day job, Josh uses FTP to share files with an out-of-state office.
I don't know a ton about it.
And that allowed him to unknowingly reveal his personal secrets stored on his external hard drive.
I didn't realize that I had military stuff on there.
We even found his discharge papers in the Army.
I would say that I'm definitely vulnerable on the Social Security number.
Removing public links to his personal files was easy once we warned him.
But it's just a click of a button.
His files are now password protected, and Phyllis's accountant is locking down all her files too. But it may be too late if an identity thief grabbed her tax return before it disappeared online.
I feel violated that my Social Security number is out there. Don't go out and buy furniture on it.
My daughter's friends. Oh, gosh.
Looking back at the past,
Baby christening out on Long Island.
brings into focus the pain Linda feels today.
It's not like my life was taken, but it feels like my life was taken. Just part of my life was just erased, and I'll never get it back.
Linda flashes back to that day.
Well, I didn't really want to move, and so everything was a blur.
Days after moving, it became clear jewelry was missing.
I saw some empty boxes of my jewelry on the counter, and I said, that's strange. I wouldn't have my jewelry boxes in here. And then I went to where I would have normally kept my jewelry hidden, and it was all gone.
Remembering each piece of stolen jewelry.
That's those gold earrings.
Means digging through old photos.
Oh, I think this is my diamond bracelet, actually.
For clues police can use to track it down.
That's my pearls, yeah, they're gone.
When that break in the investigation came for Linda, it just led to more heartbreak.
My mother's engagement ring was found. That was the only thing that was found, which I'm trying to get back from the pawn shop, but you know, they're saying I have to pay for it.
You heard her right. Pay to get your items back.
I mean, I own it. I should get it back.
We're just trying to run a business like anybody else.
Josh Davis.
I'm a third-generation pawnbroker.
Says stolen items make up a fraction of a pawn shop's items, less than half of 1% nationally.
They do need to make us whole because we didn't commit the crime. We helped them retrieve their merchandise.
Pawn shops say they don't want your stolen items. That's why they track everything. They require a driver's license, your signature, your thumbprint, and everything's caught on camera.
Very often, we're able to give video footage of the transaction to the police so that they know exactly who was here.
And that's what happened in Linda's case.
I was numb. I'm numb about the whole situation.
Police say the thief pawned the jewelry at a different pawn shop. Linda can get her items back for free under Florida law.
But there's a catch.
Did anyone really explain what your rights are to try to get your jewelry back for free?
No.
Victims have no clue, and the process for getting your items back for free isn't easy.
Right now, our laws favor the pawnbrokers over victims of crime.
State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg is pushing lawmakers to make a change.
By the time they find the goods are either gone by the time they try to get them back, or if they're still there, they have to pay through the nose for it, which is really insulting and victimizes them a second time.
Ehrenberg thinks police should warn victims of the process to get their items back for free, something the Florida Pawnbrokers Association doesn't oppose.
The detectives definitely can and should work with the victims.
Linda never paid the money to get her mom's ring back, too upset that the majority of her jewelry still hasn't been found.
I'd love to leave something to my daughter. I have nothing to leave to her.
While nothing can replace lost family heirlooms, here are some ways to protect some of your investments. Make sure you take pictures of all jewelry. And don't forget about electronics. Make sure you track the serial number on your TVs and even your iPad. You can find that number in your settings.
Joe Burke wants to trade in his Lexus for a newer car, but he won't get his money's worth because of this.
This is like a sticky material that they used on this.
His sticky dashboard
This is all new, fresh stuff right as of today.
is flaking off.
Well, even I'm a little worried about it because obviously there's an airbag behind it.
Toyota promised to fix the problem dashboards after months of pressure.
I was actually excited that, you were actually doing a story about it.
Our consumer watchdog stories helping 4.5 million.
You're doing a good justice for all of us.
Toyota.
I believe you did a wonderful job.
And Lexus drivers.
Somebody else is actually standing up for us.
Now we're standing up for you again, this time over the long repair delays.
They basically told me that we're getting to it, you're on a list.
The more time that passes, the older Joe's car gets and the lower his trade-in value.
It's like, why should I have to take, a hit off of that when it's not even my fault?
What would you say to Toyota?
I would say they need to hurry up.
Toyota blames the delay on the size of this warranty program, the large number of different models impacted, and the number of different colored dashes they need to make. Solera drivers were first in line for parts.
If it wasn't for you being adamant and, being on top of them over and over, I don't think we would have got the same results.
Eric McDonald got his new dash this summer, several months after Toyota first promised him one. At the time, mechanics at Earl Stewart Toyota were working overtime to get repairs done, but the repairs have now slowed.
Better late than never. I feel so bad for our customers.
Because they can't get parts. More than 450 on back order, just at one dealership.
They're getting the runaround.
Juan Bauta represents hundreds of drivers and filed a lawsuit against Toyota over the dashboard issue.
The realities are that it's going to cost a lot of money to get this fixed. And I think that's, it comes down to a money issue, I'm guessing.
The repairs in Lexus vehicles can cost between $1,500 and $7,000 because in some cars, even the door panels melt.
If you rub against it, it'll get on your clothes.
Daniela is the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit. She's worried she may pay an even bigger price if this expensive mess is not fixed soon.
When you're driving in the sun creates a glare on the dashboard. And you can't see. It's like a white light.
There have been a handful of accidents blamed on the glare.
I just can't believe that they have the audacity to just, not even deal with this when they're supposed to be such a reputable brand.
Leaving drivers feeling helpless.
We're waiting on them.